Now, by January 2017, if the current problems in the power sector are not resolved, Nigeria could start next year without electricity. Power generation and distribution companies say their operations are being crippled by non-payment of over $1.2 billion that's due to them. Generation companies say, on their hand, they're not sure whether they can actually continue to generate power reliably beyond Christmas. That's December 25. They say they're owed more than $900 million by the government-run bulk electricity trading company. Nigeria's Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, on his part, however, is accusing these power companies of trying to blackmail the government. These distributors say they're owed over $300 million by consumers, of which the military and government agencies are their biggest single debtors. Let's get more details on what exactly is going on here. Sophia Dengo joins me now live from Abuja. Sophia, lay the ground here for us. Exactly how much is owed and by whom right across the entire value chain, from those who generate the electricity, those who move it to consumers?
Rama, the power sector has been on top of Nigeria's agenda for a while. And 6 years ago, when the government decided to privatize not only the distribution, but 11 of the generation companies, the assumption that 400 megawatts would be increased to almost 10 and more, that has not happened. And on top of that, a lot of people don't realize that oftentimes when transactions like these do occur, 75% of the transaction was debt financed, and that has had a domino effect eventually on the inner workings through the value chain. And this is what we are seeing now between the Nigerian government on one hand and these, these privatized entities. But on a whole, what has happened is this particular situation has been taken to lawmakers, in which a power committee has been formed in order to hear both sides of the story and really come to a consensus of how much is owed by whom by the end of this year. Rama.
Indeed. The oil ministry also recently arrived at this payment-in-kind settlement with international oil companies with which it has joint venture stakes, and those are owed billions of dollars. I mean, given that gas power generation is such a big component of the installed generation capacity, can't the power minister arrive at a similar settlement, at least with some of these power generation firms?
Well, Rama, you do bring up a good point, and there is some movement by the NNPC to partner with these oil majors in providing more gas for power. Almost 70%, we are told by many experts within the sector, will be provided for from gas to electricity, which is a really welcome change here in Nigeria, seeing as the power sector has really been relying on many other forms of generation with not very much success. So, of course, these plans are unfolding into 2017, but at the moment, the Nigerian government, of course, is still grappling with the idea of trying to figure out how much is owed to which entity, getting out of that quagmire, and then finding solutions, especially in instances like this, and providing more gas and alternatives. Rama.
By some estimates, Nigeria needs to invest over $2 billion a year just upgrading its transmission network in order to reduce transmission losses, which by some estimates can get to as high as 40%. I mean, why isn't there a coherent plan yet to privatize the transmission company, given that pretty much all the other elements of the transmission of the power chain have already been privatized?
Start-stop initiatives to take over the TCN, the transmission company here in Nigeria, and that has garnered some success, but only at the table of discussion. And international bodies have been putting considerable pressure on the Nigerian government to privatize this particular component in order to raise the expectation and the distribution to the ultimate consumer. The Nigerian government, of course, is sitting back and saying that they are going to seriously consider what has been put on the table, although they're doing exactly that, considering it and not necessarily putting forward any plans in the short term to change their stand on controlling the transmission component of the electricity. Rama.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you for that. That's Sophia Dengo live in Abuja with the latest updates, of course, on Nigeria's very precarious power situation.